Hey everybody, my name is Rob Woodbridge from Untethered.tv. What you're about to see here is a clip, a short clip of a much longer episode. It can be found on Untethered.tv. So if you really are interested in this, go to Untethered.tv, do a search for this title, and you'll find it there. But enjoy this short clip.
SMS, I just want to touch on that for a second because there is a more affordable way to do it, which I'll discuss in a minute.
Sure.
But what we discussed in terms of the SMS marketing, where companies can send not push notifications. They can get a sense if they can look up a user's location, see if they're nearby, and send them a text message to drive them into the store. And that's something that's been doing by White Castle, which is, what the two of us initially spoke about. White Castle, which is a food chain. It's being done by North Face, by American Eagle, and it is a wonderful way to drive people in. The main challenge with that is it's hard. It has to be permission-based. It's not easy. In our experience, it's something we do. In our experience, we haven't had an easy time to get people to give permission to brands to look up their location. And it makes sense. I'll give brands permission to look up my location if it makes sense, right? So my weather application, it makes sense. They need to know where I am to tell me I'm back and forth between LA and New York, all right? So they need to know where I am to tell me whether it's going to be sunny or snowy.
Yeah.
It's understandable. But the local fast food chain, do I really want them being able to track where I am all the time? Yeah. And this isn't just being able to know like a basic handle of where you're at. Hyperlocal tracking, they can get really close. They pretty much know what block you're at all times of the day.
Yes.
Do I really want them knowing that? People aren't as quick to allow it. And it's understandable. So what I generally recommend for companies that are building an SMS database is to build it in a way that's pre-segmented. So in other words, instead of trying to build this big mobile database and then asking your users, can I look up your location? A certain amount will let you, but a certain amount won't. What you want to do is when you're building it, build it in a way where you're building different mini databases for different locations. So text in Ottawa to join our Ottawa fan club. Text in LA to join our LA fan club. You get the sense. Text in, you can split it up by neighborhoods, right? Or you can split it up by whatever locational aspect is most important to you. But that's usually a much more effective way, to be able to get a sense for your user's location without having to ask them for permission for it. It's also cheaper.
But I really like that idea because when you self-identify like that, it's not as painful as handing over the reins to my every whereabouts. So if I'm in this neighborhood, like my neighborhood here is, could be the Glebe area, whatever it is. And I say that, listen, if I sign up for this, any message that's relevant to that neighborhood will get pushed, and any information that isn't won't, right?
Right, exactly. Now, is it as powerful of targeting? No, not really. Like, for example, I told you, I personally travel a lot. So I might be getting text messages from the LA branch when I'm in New York, right? So it's not a foolproof, but it's definitely a way to get a sense for your user's location without asking them for permission to do something which many users don't feel comfortable doing. Right. For those that do, for the ones that you can get to agree to do it, it's great, it's wonderful. But for the many others that don't, it's a great alternative.
What other tactics? Would you prescribe for people who are getting into this space? Because that's a really unique one. I love that. Instead of asking for permission to track your whereabouts, just ask them to sign up for a location-specific list or an SMS list. So what other tactics do you, like, I love it. Don't give away, like, the farm.
No, not at all. I mean, it's all about, if there's any advice I can give, I'm always happy to pass it on. I mean, my goal is to improve this space.
Yes, mine too. Yes.
So the important things are to remember, first of all, you got to be really clear about the opt-ins. It's so important. It's so crucial. I don't know offhand of any class action lawsuits for location-based targeting, but I'm sure, and I think that's in large part because it's still in its early stages of being used. But for those that violate it, I mean, we've seen the FCC crack down over here on people that have violated SMS opt-ins. So violating location-based opt-ins, I could only guess would be much more severe. Yes. Right? It's one thing messaging someone without permission. It's another thing to, look up their location, track them all the time without their permission. That is wrong.